The future is already here. A currency with no bank behind it. Traditional money moves through governments, central banks, and commercial banks approving every step. Cryptocurrency can move without a bank approving the transaction at all. No vault, no teller, no head office. Just code running on thousands of computers at once, agreeing on the same numbers. Thousands of cryptocurrencies and tokens have been created, and the overall market has at times been worth trillions of dollars. Yet most people who've heard the word blockchain couldn't explain what it actually does. This isn't a niche hobby anymore. Businesses, governments, and major banks are all building on this technology in some form, even while plenty of experts remain skeptical. Stay with us. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's happening when money moves this way, without a single buzzword left unexplained. Subscribe to Crypto AI Meta before we get into it. The ledger everyone can see. A blockchain is just a shared notebook, except every page is copied onto thousands of computers, and nobody can quietly erase a line. That's the simplest way to think about the core idea. Every transaction gets bundled into a block, and each block links to the one before it. A chain, time-stamped and locked in order. Try to alter an old transaction, and the cryptographic links no longer match. Other nodes can reject the altered history because it doesn't follow the network's rules. This is why people describe blockchains as immutable, not because editing is physically impossible, but because doing it convincingly would mean rewriting history on thousands of independent machines at once, all without anyone noticing. A regular bank ledger lives in one building, controlled by one company. A blockchain lives everywhere at once, controlled by no one company at all. If one computer goes offline or tries to feed the network invalid information, other participants don't simply accept it. They independently check transactions and blocks against the network's rules. Anyone can run this software and join that verification process. Nobody needs an invitation or approval to check the math themselves. The detail most explainers skip. You don't have to trust the person sending you crypto. Instead of trusting a bank to update the ledger correctly, the network relies on cryptography and consensus rules that participants can independently verify. Stick around because the next part is where people usually get confused, and it's actually the simplest piece of the whole system. Mining, not digging, verifying. Different cryptocurrencies run on different systems. Bitcoin uses mining, so we'll use Bitcoin as our example. It's the clearest way to see these ideas working together. Mining sounds like pickaxes and gold. It's actually computers competing in a race called proof of work to earn the right to add the next block. This isn't extraction, this is a competition with a prize attached. Miners gather valid transactions into a block and race to solve a computational puzzle first. The winner earns newly issued Bitcoin plus transaction fees, and that reward is the central incentive that gets miners to spend real computing power securing the network. This puzzle solving happens on specialized hardware, and entire warehouses full of that hardware now compete around the clock for the reward. But miners don't have the final word. Other nodes on the network still independently check that the block follows Bitcoin's rules before accepting it. That combination of expensive computation and independent checking is what makes attacking a large network extremely costly, though no system is ever truly unbreakable. Some newer systems skip mining entirely and instead let people stake coins they already own as a deposit backing their honesty. A lighter, less energy-hungry way to reach similar trust. Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency by value, switched from proof of work to this staking model in 2022, cutting its energy use by roughly 99.95%. Instead of racing with hardware, Ethereum validators lock up ETH as collateral, and they can lose part of it if they try to approve fraudulent transactions. The penalty replaces the electricity bill as the thing keeping everyone honest. The part that surprises people: nobody has to like or trust the miners for the system to work. Their self-interest, checked by everyone else's independent verification, is what keeps the ledger accurate. Once the ledger is trusted without a bank, the next question is obvious. So what actually stops someone from spending the same coin twice? Wallets, keys, and the rule that protects you. A crypto wallet doesn't hold coins the way your actual wallet holds cash. It holds a key, and that key is the only proof you own anything at all. Lose the key, and there's no branch manager to call. Every wallet has a public address, which works like an account number you can safely share, and a private key, which works like a password nobody should ever see. Here's the elegant part. Your private key never needs to be revealed to anyone. Your wallet uses it to create a digital signature, proving you're authorized to spend the funds. And the network can verify that signature using cryptography, without ever seeing the private key itself. It's the same basic idea as signing a check with a signature nobody can forge, except a computer is doing the checking, instead of a bank teller comparing it by eye. That's why "not your keys, not your coins" became the community's most repeated warning. Leave crypto with a custodial exchange, and you're trusting that company to safeguard and ultimately provide access to those assets, rather than controlling them yourself. Double spending. Trying to use the same coin twice is handled by the network's consensus process. If someone tries it, the network has to agree on which transaction actually belongs in the accepted blockchain, and it rejects the conflicting one. Once a transaction is confirmed and buried under enough later blocks, reversing it becomes increasingly impractical. That fix is what made digital money possible in the first place. Decades of attempts before Bitcoin failed to solve exactly this problem, usually by needing a trusted central company to referee every transaction anyway. The insider tell longtime crypto users rely on: never enter your private key or recovery phrase into a website or app you haven't independently verified. Anyone who gets it may be able to take your funds, no exceptions. Why any of this has value at all. A dollar's value comes from legal tender status, monetary policy, and the institutions and economy behind it. Bitcoin's value comes from a different mix: scarcity, demand, utility, and a network effect that's held for over 15 years. That's not nothing, but it's not identical to gold's case either. Gold also has real industrial and decorative uses beyond belief in its worth. Bitcoin's utility is different. It's the guaranteed access, the portability, and the fact that no government can freeze an account you fully control yourself. Scarcity is one piece of the picture. Bitcoin's consensus rules cap its eventual supply at just under 21 million coins, a limit no central bank can override by printing more. Some other cryptocurrencies borrow that fixed supply idea, many don't. Whether scarcity alone sustains lasting value is still genuinely debated among economists, and prices can swing hard in short periods. This is not a guaranteed investment, and nothing here should be read as financial advice. What's less debated is the underlying idea: a way to move value between two people, potentially anywhere, without a bank approving every transfer. That idea has already found real use in places with unstable local currencies or limited banking access, where a phone and an internet connection can substitute for a bank branch that may not exist nearby. Some crypto networks can move value globally around the clock, though speed and fees vary widely by network and congestion. This isn't automatically faster or cheaper than every traditional option. Whatever happens to individual coin prices, that underlying idea, a shared ledger that can operate without a single controlling party, is what makes blockchain worth understanding. Understand that, and every headline about crypto suddenly makes a lot more sense. Cryptocurrency isn't magic internet money. It's a shared ledger, verified by independent participants, protected by a signature only you can create. Understand those three pieces, and you understand more about how this works than most people who've already invested in it. The technology is still young, still volatile, and still being argued over by regulators worldwide. But it's worth understanding on its own terms before you form an opinion on it. That's true whether you end up a believer, a skeptic, or somewhere in between. Subscribe to Crypto AI Meta for more explanations that skip the jargon.